I don't know what Deion's. I'm not going to describe it. I'm not going to describe it. I am just listen.
Be in your head when you pleasure yourself.
I don't pleasure myself. I've never in my life pleasured.
In your life.
Never in my life.
All your
God is my witness.
I'm so confused. I'm keeping it out to strike you down. You're not to strike you down.
Hey, I'm telling you to call the truth.
Why do I really believe him?
Okay, now see, my next statement don't sound arrogant.
What is it?
I never had.
Oh.
Hey, there you go.
See? Do you believe him?
No.
Hell no.
Hell no.
Hell no.
Yeah, Prime's never jerked off, and I've never had a burger.
Okay, listen.
Dude, thank you.
I think we are all acutely aware
bro.
that
there
are times where we all have to, lower the water table
You
a
gotta get
little
stroked.
bit. Yeah, I mean,
Honestly,
listen,
I'd start stroking guys.
pace of play matters. And
You just have to start stroking guys.
I'm just telling you, every guy does, has, and will.
No.
Yes. I don't care who you are. Dude, they chopped your toes off. You were in that bed for days by yourself.
Macaque.
Not one time? Come on. Come on. Come on.
Dude.
It's one of the craziest things I have ever heard somebody say.
Things, dude. He has said some things. That is an outlandish thing to say.
Dana Marie says, how does one get meat sticks delivered? Asking for a friend.
Macaque.
Right? How is this a sports story?
Dude, are you serious right now?
You got to be kidding me.
You're not being serious right now.
Pace of what matters? Exactly.
Why
is this such a taboo subject? And maybe it's because I have so much energy built up today. I don't understand why people are like, oh, I'd never do that, man.
I think I've hit it every time.
Dude, the Pope died today. I would never do that.
Guess what? They got another Pope lined up. We get it.
Yeah, and trust me, so has he.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. I'm telling you now, Deion Sanders, yes, you have.
Yeah.
And listen, they're lined up around the block even today.
And I don't dispute that from what he's saying.
Right.
I'm sure let's change the quote to I haven't had to more than once, because we all know, Prime, you've done it at least once. Dude.
I haven't had to more than once a day. I get it.
Minutes parade.
Yeah, dude, totally get it, but I don't believe you.
Come on,
I
bro.
don't believe you.
Come on.
Glad you're feeling better. My family loves you. And I appreciate the
27 months. Let's go.
That was a great 27 months.
Yeah.
That was a great video.
Nice job, dude.
Welcome to the nightmare. Prime saying he never stroked it is like Jakey Two Shakes never having eaten roller.
That's well done. Well done.
Tell me,
dude, that is funny.
Is Deion Sanders not one of the most divisive figures? You either love him or you hate him.
Do you believe?
And there's no in between. And the ones who love him will fight the ones who hate him.
The unbelievers.
And like this Shedeur Sanders conversation, and I think I'm actually with Prime on this, right? I look at Shedeur Sanders, and there are people who will tell you Shedeur Sanders is damaged good because of Deion Sanders. That Deion has damaged Shedeur to NFL people. I think you're out of your mind.
Yeah, I don't believe that for a second.
This argument over Shedeur having his number retired, I'm wholeheartedly in agreement with Deion Sanders.
What was your message like maybe Buff Nation and Buff alums who are
I don't have a
why
message. I'm praying for my AD. I love him to life, Rick George. Let's get the elephant out the room. I don't want to talk about this too long. I'm going to just talk briefly and let it go. We talking about Shedeur. We ain't talking about nobody else. But his last name wasn't Sanders, we wouldn't have this discussion. The only reason we were having this discussion is his last name is Sanders. Okay? That's it.
100%.
Okay, listen.
100%.
Okay, first of all, I understand why you retired his number, generally speaking, right?
Maybe because he had two of the
Well, hold
greatest
on.
seasons in Colorado football history.
Yes, one, I agree with that. But two, as part of those two great seasons, because it's one thing if you just have two great seasons, right? Like if you go to a great program, you go to Alabama, you have two of the greatest seasons. Okay, that's one thing. But you did it at a program that was talking about canceling football at one point.
Program.
So that's number one. So for the record, I am in agreement with retiring Shedeur's number, and Travis isn't even a conversation, and don't bring it up.
Yeah.
Like that's no doubt
One of
about
the greatest college football players ever, Travis Hunter.
The problem that I have with what Prime did here is not that he's wrong per se. The problem I have is that you're trying to make this assertion that the only reason people are asking you about this, about retiring his number, is because his last name is Sanders. Like you're saying that it's no question about it. There's no argument to be made that he shouldn't have had his number retired. Like, I got news for you, Prime. First of all, your dude's dad, what else would you say? I get that part of it. But the other thing you have to understand is the timing of this. Why did you feel the need to retire their numbers before the spring practice? Why was that the need? Why not let them get drafted first? Why not let some time go by? Because I think that's what people are most astonished by or surprised by, is that it's not necessarily just that you retired Shedeur's number and Travis's number, and maybe they disagree with Shedeur's number being retired, but not just that, but just that you did it in such a hurry. The guy's not even in the NFL yet, right? There is speculation that we're going to get to here in a little while that maybe Shedeur falls later into the first round, right? That maybe he isn't just a no doubt about it, no question about a top 5 pick. And who's to say? Who's to say? But the point is that Deion Sanders sitting here trying to make the case that, oh, well, let me get the elephant out of the room. Like it's this big obvious thing that the only reason he's getting asked about this is because it's his kid. It's an absolutely ridiculous take.
You disagree with
That's
that.
an absolutely ridiculous take. Because he's trying to say that the media is only asking him about it because it's his kid.
I don't think he's talking to the media, first of all. I think he's talking to the haters. Number two, I think the only reason that you would question Shedeur Sanders having his number retired is because he's Deion's son. If Shedeur had done what he did at Colorado at any other university, he's arguably and likely the greatest quarterback they've ever had. On completion percentage alone, it's one of the best seasons we've had in modern college football from a quarterback at 74%. The O-line stuff, all the other haterade talk, okay, great. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you, and I will agree with Deion 100% on this. Shedeur Sanders deserved to have his number retired. And I also agree with another thing that Deion said, which is, do we have to wait for people to die to retire their numbers like Rashaan Salam? I told you that last week. Shedeur Sanders should have had his number retired at senior day. Travis Hunter's one of the greatest college football players ever and should have had his number retired at senior day. So is it too soon? Not in my opinion. It's too late. Honor them while they're playing their final game at home. And hey, the spring game was cool and whatnot. Honor them, excuse me, while they're playing their final game at home. This isn't even a question to me. The only reason that Shedeur Sanders is getting hate about having his number retired is because he's Deion's son.
Well, I think partially too, though, if you compare his season, because what people are doing is they're taking Shedeur's season and they're comparing it to what a great quarterback season would be in college football, right? And they're also the thing that I keep hearing is, oh, well, they were 13-11, and everyone keeps saying I think the term was like you got trashed in the bowl game or whatever. Right? There's all kinds of different adjectives used, but I think what people are missing here is it's not. For Colorado football, it's not, nobody's saying that his season was better than Joe Burrow's best season or this guy or that guy. That's not the conversation.
No.
The conversation is, hey, the Sanders family essentially put in all this effort and turned this program around and made this program nationally relevant. And not just from a football perspective, but just from a personality perspective. And they deserve credit for that. And by the way, it looks like the team is getting better. So you can't just sit here and be like, oh, well, it was a one-shot wonder and now they're going to suck. Like, that doesn't work.
No, I think that there should not be a conversation on deserving. And I think we all try to find reasons to wait to do things. Appreciate people now. Appreciate the people. And I say this about LeBron. Did you see what Steph Curry did last night?
Did.
And we're going to talk NBA playoffs in about 90 minutes. Did you see what Steph did last night? Appreciate him now. My guys, like, these are what Shedeur Sanders did at Colorado, what Travis Hunter did at Colorado are things you will likely never see again. Do you know how hard it is to complete 74% of your passes?
With that offensive line.
Do you know how hard it is to play the number of reps that Travis played? Hey, come on. The number of touchdowns combined with the number of interceptions, historic. Man, like, appreciate people now. Love your kids now. Love your kids who are 10 when they're 14 because they're completely different people. Love your parents now. Tell them that before they're dead. Retire Shedeur Sanders' number now because he's an unbelievable football player. And the sad thing is we won't do that. We're going to find ways to rip him down. I saw all the memes about Deion's kid. To hell with that. Shedeur Sanders outplayed the shadow of being Deion's kid. Only the media and the haters won't let that happen.
Yeah.
So I'm just not here for it. I'm just not here for it. All right. Gabriel, Prime is trying to look cool, apparently. I don't know that he's got to try.
Yeah, I don't think he's got to try.
Let's see. I can say I was right about Nico going to UCLA. After seeing the Rose Bowl in person, the stadium's great. No, the Rose Bowl, for those of us.
Honey, it needs an IPF and it needs an upper deck. But outside of that, Nico's going to make that place look amazing.
The Rose Bowl's a dump. I don't know how many times we can talk about this on the show. And for my Los Angelinos, please hop in here. Anybody who's been there, it's a dump.
Because it's garbage.
It is so hard to get into and out of. It's brutal. It is. I have been there for, obviously, UCLA football. I have been there for a flea market. I have been there for a Chelsea football match. I mean, I've been there for just about everything. It's impossible to get to and get out of when there's an event there. It's old. It's dilapidated. It is in need of a renovation badly. It's not a beautiful stadium. Nico Imaliava went to UCLA for one reason. He had nowhere else to go. Where did Nico want to go? He wanted to go to USC. He didn't want to go to UCLA. Nobody wants to go play football at UCLA.
Facts.
He gave away 50% of his money at a minimum. And that's if we're being nice.
Yeah, that's if you're being generous.
What happened to the $4 million deal, Dad? So we can sit here and, he'll be closer to it. It had nothing to do with being closer to his family. If he cared about being closer to his family, he would have never wound up on Rocky Top. He would have never been at Tennessee.
Yeah.
He didn't care about being close to his family. He cared about making money. And
Which he didn't do that either.
When he figured out he couldn't make money, now it's, I want to be closer to home. What happened to the $4 million deal? I don't know either. And this is what I always talk about. We've got to stop shining the turds in sports. Stop doing that. The Rose Bowl is not, the stadium is great. No, it's not. It's a dump. It's a dump. It's a terribly located stadium. I don't know how many people realize this. It is up on a hillside in Pasadena amongst multi-million dollar homes. The neighbors don't like it. They don't want it there. They don't make it easy to get in and out of. It's quite literally in the middle of pick your poison. Pick any neighborhood you want. It's in the middle of Daybreak, Utah, dropped in the middle with egress and access issues. Have you ever tried to get an Uber or a ride share? Because that's what everybody always says. Oh, just take Uber. Do you know how hard it is to get an Uber after an event at the Rose Bowl? It is, bro, you have a better chance of I getting a transplant somehow during it, think of the impossible. It's impossible. It's a dump in a terrible location. And if it's such a pleasure palace and an amazing stadium, why are they trying to figure out how to build one on campus, which they'll never be able to do? Because nobody goes to UCLA football games. I can tell you, when Holy Bob Toledo was the football coach, and I was just little young Monty covering UCLA football, you can literally pay for a seat, the worst seat in the house, because you're just going to walk down and sit in the front row. Sit anywhere you want. 50-yard line, sure, that's available, because nobody goes to UCLA games. So, Ferris Khan, serious question: are the Chicago Bears and White Sox moving? It's not. It's not a serious question. It's not a serious question. Smash. The Bears are building a new stadium, which is how you know it's not a serious question. So, I understand retiring his number, but wait until he's in the league. They haven't even been drafted yet. But why wait? Because a lot of people have said this. If you're going to retire Shedeur and Travis's number at Colorado, they should wait until they're in the NFL. Why? Is it a resume thing? Do they have to do well in the NFL to have their number retired at Colorado?
I mean, I definitely think part of being an all-time great college player is being drafted. And I think there's no doubt about they're going to be drafted.
Wow, is it really?
Yeah, for sure.
Should Florida retire Tim Tebow?
Yeah, without a
Well,
doubt.
how can you do that? He was terrible in the pros.
Yeah, but again, I'm talking about being drafted.
Right, but he was drafted. Wasn't Tim Tebow drafted where was Tim Tebow drafted? He was drafted late. He was not drafted. He wasn't in the top of the draft. He wasn't,
I don't think there's any doubt being a great college football player, part of that resume and retiring numbers is getting to the NFL. I mean, it's pretty rare to be just this
25th pick of the first round.
Yeah,
Tim
that's
Tebow.
fine. That's fine.
I just don't think you should ever. The NFL has nothing to do with retiring a college football number. Nothing. So then Zach Wilson, Jaron Hall, do those guys belong with Ty Detmer?
No, because they didn't have the numbers, I don't think, or did do what they did for the program. I would guess. I mean, I have to look at it closer, obviously.
That's my point. I don't care what Shedeur does in the NFL. He was the best quarterback that Colorado has ever had. Retire his number now. Appreciate him now. I think Tim Tebow is one of the biggest busts in the history of the National Football League, if you listen to the haters, right? And I think when you look at the way Tebow, was he a better baseball player? Probably not. I mean, he won a playoff game. Everybody seems to forget that. I just think that he deserves better. And if there's ever a guy that should have his number retired at Florida, it's Tim Tebow, and he hasn't.
Yeah.
Because he's probably the greatest college quarterback ever. But I don't think that should impact. I don't think that should impact Shedeur at all, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But 13 and 12, and they're retiring his number. Hey, what does the 13 and 12 have to do with Travis and Shedeur? Travis Hunter is one of the best college football players ever, and certainly the best player in college football this year. So should Travis be blamed? He played offense and defense. He should be blamed for the 13 and 12. No, he shouldn't. Shedeur was at fault that they were 13 and 12. No, he was not. People frustrated by Shedeur and Travis having their numbers retired but 4 other Colorado legends don't realize their beef is with Colorado Athletic Administration, not the Sanders family. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly
I would agree
right.
with that.
Damon Bolden, isn't it true he broke over 100 records at the school? Yeah, it's his resume at Colorado. Shedeur's resume at Colorado. There's nothing to even talk about.
And I don't think people are talking about that. I think what people are doing is they're doing what Wasikowski did. They're pointing to the overall record. They're pointing to the fact that you didn't get into the CFP or do any type of major winning as a program while those two were there. And I think they feel like it's really hasty. You know, it's like you did it really quick. And listen, I'll even go as far as to say I can acknowledge why some people feel like this is that this kind of portrays like a daddy ball kind of message. Like, hey, if you just look at jersey retirements, generally speaking, like, I don't have an example off the top of my head, but typically jersey retirements don't happen on, for football programs anyway, at least in my experience, aren't really happening on senior day or during a spring game.
100%. I agree with that.
Like most of the time you're going to bring them back in the middle of the season or like, before some huge football game or something. Like you're going to pick a moment that has big significance where you can do it pregame and make it a big deal. And like, that's typically how jersey retirement goes. And I would even say that's how they typically do it in pro sports too. You don't usually see jersey retirement happening on a random Tuesday night for like great players. That's usually a Friday, Saturday night, full house kind of thing. So I understand why people are like, oh, well, why do it so fast or this? Like, I get it. But if you're the guy that's pointing to the overall record and saying these guys shouldn't have numbers retired because they didn't win a national championship, I think it just lacks so much like vision and perspective about where the program came from and what they inherited versus like how far they took it. I mean, you're talking about inside of 2 seasons coming from nothing and competing for, I don't know what, 75% of the season, 80% of the season for the Big 12. You lost it there at the end. Nobody disagrees with that. But you were in that thing most of the year. So they did play meaningful football. They did have Colorado, pretty close to doing things they've never really done in a power conference. Like, I just don't know why it's got to be this thing where we all just want to crap on them and say that they're terrible and they don't deserve it. And like, I don't know why we default to that. Why can't we say, yeah, sure, they had a 13-12 record or whatever overall, and maybe they didn't win a national championship, but what they did for that program probably supersedes that. Because
I would agree. Because
without them, they're not even in the conversation in the Big 12. I mean, I just don't know. Like take it all the way back to realignment. Take it all the way back to Big 12 expansion. Does Colorado just run off like that if they don't have Prime and all that lined up? If they don't have that kind of forward momentum? Like, that's probably not happening.
No.
I mean, you could very easily, if Deion Sanders and Colorado never married up and Sheduer and all them weren't a thing and Prime didn't recruit Travis, like, you could be chilling in the Mountain West right now for all anybody knows.
Yeah.
So I just think that if you're sitting here saying that these guys suck and they're terrible and they shouldn't have had their number retired, and the only reason they got their number retired, or specifically Sheduer, is because he's his dad, that's, that is why
that's just being
you're just hating.
A hater.
You're just hating.
That's really all it is.
But I have to say, for Deion doesn't help things when he goes into the media and says, let me get the elephant out of the room. As if, because what I didn't love about that particular line is that and to your point, whether he's referencing the haters or the media doesn't really matter in my opinion. You're talking to the media. So the assertion is like, hey, let me get the elephant out of the room. I don't want to speak on this too long, but you're only really asking me about that because his last name is Sanders. Like,
here's the bite again.
What was your message like maybe Buff Nation and Buff alums who are
I don't
wondering
have
why?
a message. I'm praying for my AD. I love him to life, Rick George. Let's get the elephant out the room. I don't want to talk about this too long. I'm going to just talk briefly and let it go. We talking about Shedeur. We ain't talking about nobody else. But his last name wasn't Sanders, we wouldn't have this discussion. The only reason we were having this discussion is his last name is Sanders. Okay? That's it.
That's it. If he was any other, if he was not Deion's son, he is.
What he should have said, or what I would have preferred him to say, not what he should have said, because he can say whatever he wants, but I would have preferred him to have said, and I think would have insulated him from all this crap storm out here.
Because he is taking a lot.
Yeah, he's taking some heat.
Yeah.
I would have said, hey, let me get the elephant out of the room about this topic. I'm only getting asked about this because Shedeur's last name is Sanders.
Because he's my son.
Because he's my son.
Yes.
If another player, if another kid under on my team, under my staff, had done something great in this program to the point where they were getting their number retired, this wouldn't even be a conversation. That's what that other part. If another kid had done this, but if you just say, yeah, we're only talking about this because his last name is Sanders. Yeah, you're damn right. We're only talking about it because he's your kid.
And the elephant in the room usually is Cordell Stewart.
Yeah.
Who we talked about last week. He's not even in the same zip code as Sheduer.
But what do? And we debunked this last week. Go back and listen because we're not doing that today.
Yeah, I don't want to go over it again.
But what do we do as fans? One
Sheduer.
pass.
Man,
God,
Cordell
dude.
was amazing. Did you?
Bro.
He was an unbelievable. No, he wasn't. He was a really good runner.
Oh, but Monty, Shedeur's terrible. And this
No, but
rando
Monty's.
over here.
Stay hard. No, but Monty's.
Like, go do your homework, bro.
I'm not
Jesus.
telling you that Cordell Stewart was a bad quarterback. He is not on Shedeur's level, not even in the same zip code. And again, what Shedeur accomplished in space and time,
yeah,
it's Louis,
yes.
dude.
I mean, this sentiment, you guys understand. That's funny you bring that up. Because I do feel like this sentiment here about this conversation with him getting his number retired, it's the same thing. You guys remember all the hyenas crying about how, oh, he's forcing God onto my kid, and it's Louis. I don't want a preacher thing. And, like, bro, dude, where are all those people now? Where are all the people who said that this guy wasn't going to be a good coach and not a developer of men, and was going to do it the wrong way? Can't recruit. Never knew who Jordan Seaton was. Didn't know who some of he's. I love this too, by the way. I can't remember the kid's name. Forgive me. They've got this kicker on the roster now, kicking 60-yard field goals in the spring game, and people are like, "Whoa, he can recruit!" Like, how do you think they got to this level? Like, I understand you haven't won the Big 12 yet and you haven't been to the CFP yet, but you were right there. You were right on the bubble.
And
you
have one of the best coaching staffs in the country.
Like, legitimately, are you not probably less than 10 plays away from the college football playoff last season?
If Buck Buchanan can be the next Dicker, the kicker.
Yeah, dude. Right?
Come on, man.
Like,
yeah, Buck Buchanan, the kicker for the Buffs. And everybody's seen the video. It's viral. It's on my Twitter feed. You have to go back over the weekend and look at it. But he quite literally is standing in the middle of the logo, banging field goals, and they're not close to short. He is hitting the net at Folsom Field from the middle. It's unbelievable.
Let me guess, haters are going to say it's because of the altitude.
It's fake. It's fake, bro.
We get it, bro.
That's what they do.
All I'm saying is let's not knock kids. Let's try to find ways to boost them.
Yeah.
Let's be positive. Wasikowskinator. Kirk Cousins, who already should have been traded, but he hasn't been yet.
Let's deflect.
Needs to have his 8 retired at SMU if that's the argument. Okay. I'm happy to have the argument. You don't retire a guy's number because the team went undefeated. Unless he's the guy who made it so the team went undefeated. A retired number should be, excuse me, a retired number should be historically great performance.
And I think Shedeur did that.
I 100% agree with that. I'm not even saying that. Oak State, James.
Here we go.
The Rose Bowl isn't a great stadium. Okay. And I'm going to try and find it.
Let me come over
Are you
here
out
while
of
you're
your
looking
Are you
for
out
that.
of your mind?
Let's wind the clocks back a year.
Where how here it is right here, I think. I can say I was right about Nico going to UCLA. After seeing the Rose Bowl in person, the stadium is great.
The stadium is great. Hold on. Okay.
I have to go find
Okay,
this.
now
one.
let's come back
Hold
down.
Hold on. I have to come and
We're
find
making
it.
progress.
Hello, Boyd Lake. Good to see you. Joe Delaney's jersey was retired during the last game. That's awesome. Trying to rip James here.
Right
Hang
there.
on. The Rose Bowl isn't a great stadium.
Dude.
So if I carry the 6 and move the decimal over,
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
The Rose
But
Bowl.
Monty, dude.
You said the Rose Bowl is great, and now you just said the Rose Bowl isn't a great.
Selectively aggressive.
It's the area around that is so beautiful. If I lived in California, I would want to live in Pasadena.
No, dude. I promise you,
This
no,
is
you would
not blocking the mountains. And
Bro.
this is the blocking the mountains at Utah conversation.
Dude.
No, you don't want. You're not close to. You're not. You're close enough to LA to have fun. You don't go to LA to have fun. Nobody goes downtown Los Angeles. Hey man, I want a good time. Where should we go? Not downtown Los Angeles. Nobody goes. Excuse me. Sorry. Nobody goes DTLA to have a good time. Okay. Nobody.
DTLA.
But I appreciate the effort. Shedeur Sanders has talent. I hope he puts on another 10 to 15 pounds. That way he can survive the physicality of the NFL. I hope so too.
Yeah. Well, again, I think it's safe to say he's going to have a better offensive line than he had.
Oh God. Johnny Gonzalez chose violence. Why? Brandon Whedon needs to have his number 3 jersey retired.
Yeah.
We'll let Stadium James pick the color exactly. Damon Bolden, they still have huge interest. Their spring game was on ESPN on Saturday. Yes, it was. Yes, it was, which I think is amazing. Let's see. Johnny, don't care what anybody says. You'll never find a more cordial Stewart for the CU Buffs than KS. Hey, man. I don't even dislike Cordell Stewart. I've interviewed Cordell Stewart probably 10 times.
It's not really about him.
It's not personal.
Haters are making it about him because they don't have anything to stand on.
I think, yeah. It is, yeah. Which is fine. It's fine. Darian Hagan and Coy Detmer were both better than Cordell at Colorado.
But again, can we not?
It's not about Cordell Stewart. If you're the guy making the comparison, well, because all day Wednesday, this is all I heard about. Well, Monty, Cordell Stewart first.
We get it, dude.
Go yell at Rick George. What has that got to do with Shedeur Sanders? We've got to stop this thing where we don't retire them right now. I'm telling you, the only day you should have your number retired is on senior day because the legacy's already been written.
Yeah.
The legacy's been written.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd have retired Shedeur and Travis on senior day because they're historically good. That doesn't mean that Cordell Stewart sucked. That doesn't mean that Ty and Coy and your mom and I don't care about anybody else. Because in this conversation, it's the merits of Shedeur Sanders and his 74% completion percentage.
I don't give a baker's fuck.
His numbers, his touchdown, like all of it. Where they got Colorado from and to.
Yeah.
His journey to Colorado and then his graduation, he put them on the map. Anyway, let's see. Shouty says, "Hey y'all,
hey y'all."
Force goes okay, bro. This is why you don't get your. It's not from Salam. Understand who you're dealing with. Johnny Gonzalez a quarterback at Colorado had The all-time career, their 1990s QBs at the same school gets his name pulled out of the attic of college football history as being a better player.
Yeah.
We always want to do that. It's why on this show, I tell you, there's no conversation. There's no comparison between Jordan and LeBron. They're two uniquely amazing performers. Does Steph Curry, I heard this morning on a talk show that will remain nameless because I don't want to tell you how bad it is. Steph Curry tells you how average Larry Bird was. Shut up.
What are we doing?
Shut up.
What are we doing?
Because in Larry Bird, who played a completely different position and in a completely different era, you should compare. There's no reason to knock Cordell Stewart and his accomplishments as an athlete to prop up Sheduer or vice versa.